So this slump felt different than the other slumps that we've seen over the last few years. In contrast to what we've seen over the last 5 years, consumption was really soft. It barely expanded in the first quarter. This is the week where we're going to find out if that really was a temporary slump. We think it was a temporary slump, but this is the week we'll find out. We'll get the ISM manufacturing tomorrow, and then, of course, on Friday, we'll get the April employment report. March was very weak, 98,000 jobs. We're expecting a big swing back from that, back up to 225. We think all of the data from here on out will kind of improve coming into spring. We think some temporary factors held back growth in the first quarter. This is where we start to find out if that's right.
Factors? Because I have heard anecdotally from companies that they saw weakness in January and February, but things seemed to pick up a bit in March.
Things definitely picked up in March. I think the biggest thing that held back January and February was the delay in the tax refund. So by the third week of February, we were running $55 billion behind in tax refunds. That's actually a lot of money, considering the ordinary variation in retail sales is about $4 billion a month. And that was just a change in the law. They just delayed the refunds for the earned income tax credit households. By the end of February, that came out, and we started to see that show back up in spending. The other thing that was weak in the first quarter was motor vehicle sales. So hopefully, when we get that data on Tuesday, we'll see a little bit of a bounce back in that as well.
Doug, how do you look at this in terms of your investing play? How much of it is the economy? How much of it is earnings? How much of it is the headline news that you're hearing out of Washington?
Well, first of all, fundamentals and confidence are joining forces, and I've seen positive. I expect the manufacturing reports to be positive this week. It's not just in the U.S., it's around the world, and it's all been positive. Then you have the payroll report, but you have to look at corporate earnings. That's the canary in the coal mine that really drives markets, and right now we're at double digits for the first quarter. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, the canary is not dying, if you're using this as a canary in a
yeah, this is continued. So we're at 12.5% Q1 expectations. Top line revenue is 3 quarters in a row of positive top line revenue. This is a sign that the global economy is doing well. And if you want a position for this, you need to broaden out your portfolio. You mean
broaden beyond U.S. equities?
Beyond U.S. equities. As a matter of fact, U.S. equities are in 3rd place right now, behind, maybe 4th place, behind emerging markets, international, mid caps. Many investors have been playing just U.S. large caps and cash or fixed income. You need to get into not only emerging markets, but global REITs and across the board. And I think I believe over the next 5 years, we've been in a very narrow market of U.S. only. Now emerging markets, when they start to run, they really run. So I'm seeing most investors are very narrowly invested, broaden out into large, mid, small.
How broad?
If you're emerging markets, international, because you look at some of the emerging economies, like India just had huge tax reform. You have Brazil, more conservative candidates. You have Argentina, more conservative candidates. You have France that will elect Macron. So we're seeing a conservative.
You think?
I think.
We'll find out next week.
But I'm seeing a conservative shift, not just in the U.S., but around the world. And that's why I believe the global economy is getting going, catching fire, and I think it's going to continue, and that will keep corporate earnings growing.